Hi everyone, and welcome to a very special reading vlog because I'm in Tokyo, Japan. I'm here for 2.5 weeks and I'm very excited. So we arrived here yesterday very early in the morning, about 7 AM, and wandered Tokyo for the whole day before we could check into our hotel. And today it's just going to be a very like lovely day of just going around the different neighborhoods. We're going to go to the Imperial Palace, we're going to go to Ginza, which is like a shopping district as well, but also the main thing I want to do is get some reading done because obviously I would like to read some translated Japanese fiction whilst I am here. So I have 2 books that I'm planning to read this trip. The first one I am bringing out with me today. This is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, and I've seen this everywhere. I'm sure like the rest of BookTube has as well, but I am super excited about this. I think, you know, hopefully we'll be stopping at a few little coffee shops and I want to get a couple of pages read at each place, and I'll basically just take you around. This is going to be a travel vlog slash reading vlog. I also have another book that I'm planning to read, which I will let you know what that is as soon as I finished this one. They're really short, as is the other book, so hopefully we can get through this very quickly. Anyway, it is time to go. It's about 9:30. We've been up since 7ish, all the jet lag, but we are going to head out now. I need some breakfast, I'm starving. So coffee, breakfast, and maybe reading some of this book as well. Hi everyone, so we've had breakfast and I read some of my book Before the Coffee Gets Cold with an iced coffee, already cold, and a waffle. It was great. But now we're on our way to the Imperial Palace in Tokyo and we're going to see the gardens. So I'm very excited to see them. It's just so beautiful here, the weather is stunning. check-in. So I am now in a place called Hakone in Japan, which is kind of like a hot springs town, like an onsen town, which is where there's loads of hot springs, like volcanic hot springs. It's been quite a day. Yesterday we were in a place called Nikko, and tomorrow we go to Kyoto. So it's been whistle stop tour, like literally place to place. And because I've been on so many bullet trains, I managed to finish Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. And oh my god, nobody told me about this book. Nobody said it was sad. Nobody told me. I was very emotional finishing this. I love how it was structured. So the concept of this is that there is this cafe, and if you sit in this one seat, you can basically go back in time, but you have to have basically been at that cafe before to go back in time to, if that makes sense. So like you can't just go back in time to anywhere, you have to go back in time to a moment of time during when you were last at that cafe. So it tells the story of like loads of different scenarios, like 4 main scenarios of like these different people and their lives and why they wanted to go back in time. But each of them are quite like bittersweet and very like tragic, but very kind of like uplifting, if that makes sense. So it was just so emotional. The last one made me like just sob. I was just not okay. If you've not read this, I really would urge you to read it. This was like a sleeper hit for me. This was a complete surprise, but I kind of want to read the rest of the series now, because it is a series all about the cafe, and I'm really starting to fall in love with the characters as well. So I'm really excited about this book. I think this was great. So 1 book down of the reading vlog. The next book I have started reading is Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. So this is about Kiko, who so far is basically working at a convenience store, a konbini I think they're called in Japan. What's really nice about this is we've just come from Tokyo, and a lot of the references I'm kind of picking up on. So like the Suica cards that they use and the different things you can buy in a konbini, and all of that is like ringing bells with me. So I'm really enjoying this so far, but I am actually only on page 13, so not very far at all. This is super short, however, so I'm on quite a long train tomorrow, so I am hoping to finish this on the bullet train from Hakone, where I am now, over to Kyoto, which is about 2 hours, and I'm looking forward to finishing that then. So anyway, I'm sitting here in my Hakone ryokan, which is a Japanese inn. It's a very, very fancy ryokan. We've basically splashed out a little bit on this night stay because we're only here for 1 night, but I'm so glad we did, because it has been kind of a day that has not gone to plan. It has been storming, it has been so rainy that all of the attractions we had planned, like all the things there is to do in Hakone, we've not been able to do because nothing's running because of the storm. So luckily this hotel is incredible. We've got our own private onsen, which is a hot spring. We've got the public ones, and we had like this incredible like 5-6 course Japanese dining experience, and now we're in a lovely fancy ryokan. As you can see, excuse all the packing stuff that's going on, but really lovely. But anyway, I'm about to go to bed. We've got another early start tomorrow, and I'm super excited to get to Kyoto and also to finish this book. everyone, forgive this rather awful lighting, but I'm currently in my Kyoto hotel. It is the last night we're going to be here, and we are moving on to Osaka tomorrow. So we have a day trip to a place called Himeji, where there is an old castle. I think it's the biggest castle in Japan, I want to say. But yeah, we've got like an action-packed trip. Obviously, since my last clip, I can't remember what I updated you on. I think I was just arriving in Kyoto, but a lot has happened since then. We've basically been here for like 3 nights and have done so many amazing things. If you want to find out more, you can follow me on TikTok. I've done TikToks on basically every day of my trip, so I will leave a link to that down below, but it's also just at bookbellreads. You can also follow me on Instagram at bookbellreads, where I have also put them up as reels, and I've done many an Instagram post. But anyway, you're here for an update. So I finished Convenience Store Woman by Suyaka Murata, and I gave this 3 to 4 stars. Now, the reason being for the low rating is mainly because not a lot happened in this. It is a very short book. I would have loved to see this maybe explored as a longer novel. I think that would be my main criticism of this book, is that it was just very short, and it was so fascinating that I wanted it as a longer form novel, you know? Like, it just was very, very brief. Basically, I read it on the bullet train from Hakone to Kyoto, which is about 2 hours, and I gobbled it up. I was like, seriously, couldn't stop reading that book. So basically, if you've never heard about this book, you don't know what it's about. It is about a woman called Kiko who is 36 years old, and she's always been known for being a bit strange and a bit like peculiar. Like, her behavior has never been the same as those people who she's been around, her family, people at school, like her colleagues. Like, she is different, and she finds herself like almost emulating the behaviors of other people to pass in society. And she works in a convenience store, a konbini, I think they're called in Japanese. And basically she feels almost like at home in this convenience store. It becomes like, I don't know, like a religion to her, a way of being. She finds her place there. She finds the routine of it, she finds the orderliness of it, she finds the, you know, the daily kind of practice of it. A way to basically live her life. Like, she eats food because she knows that, you know, she's being paid to turn up for work fit and healthy. Like, little things like that, which is so interesting. She gets enough sleep so she can be at her best when she's at work at the convenience store. And she, you know, has colleagues there, she has almost like friends there. And the one theme that is really kind of in this book is how that society expects her to eventually find a husband, settle down, have a family, and for that reason it's not really strange that she's in a convenience store as long as she gets married, because then she will fit in with the social norms. And social norms is a really big theme in this book, and above anything, I just found this book really sad. Like, it's really sad how like a woman who is 36 is not allowed to just have the life she wants to have, and she's almost been molded to be a mother, to be a wife, to have a family, to have a really good paying job, or like if her husband has a good paying job, then she's, yeah, sure, she can work in a convenience store. But if she doesn't have a husband, then she, you know, it's strange for her to be working there. And this book really examines the social norms, I guess, in Japan, in Japanese society, the kind of gender norms as well that are still at play today. And she meets another man who has very extreme views, and she almost kind of gets suckered in. She almost has the life that her family want her to have, like to settle down, to get married. But in the end, she chooses herself. And that was like the best thing about the book for me, is like, you know, she recognizes where she is happiest, and that is the convenience store. So this was a completely like bizarre, strange book, and a lot of the Goodreads reviews just talk about how weird and kooky it was. But I think like there is definitely an element of sadness about this, is like how this poor woman cannot be herself she feels that she's got to change things because society tells her that's not the way to live your life. So really would recommend this. Like, I really read this very quickly, and I think it's because I'm in Japan. I was like, it was eye-opening for me. I just really enjoyed it. And you know, I was on the bullet train, I was eating my tuna onigiri that I bought in a convenience store whilst reading this book, and I was like, wow, I don't know, it could have been Kiko serving me, who knew? But anyway guys, that is it. I have read my 2 Japanese translated books on this trip, and I've read them in cafes, I've read them on the bullet train, I've read them on buses, kind of dotting from city to city and having the greatest time. But anyway, I am off to Osaka next and then Tokyo, but it's been like the best trip, and I have loved reading these books because it's made it so much more fun, and it's given me that kind of dose of like Japanese culture, so I've loved that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed these 2 books that I've been talking about, and that you enjoy them if you do pick them up yourself.